Joining me this morning is Saskatchewan's own Jeffery Straker, an award-winning singer, songwriter, and pianist who's bringing his heartfelt storytelling and energetic piano style to the Souris Valley Theatre this Thursday, July 3rd. Welcome, Jeffery, to the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, and I love to see you got those beautiful pianos there behind you. And do you have to bring a piano on the road with you, or how do you kind of work that out?
I do have to bring a piano now. Thank goodness technology is on my side in that department. There are digital pianos that are quite light that are, that I own. So I take those, pack them in the back of my Mazda and go with me. But the ones you're seeing here, that's a 1910 Heinzmann upright piano and a 1973 Wurlitzer. I do not take those when I'm on the road.
That's awesome. You have a Wurlitzer, though. That's so much fun.
Yeah.
Before we talk about your show on Thursday, I'd just like to ask about the big cool thing that you had with the King, Charles.
That was a bit of a goings-on, and a complete surprise. So, I mean, if your listeners don't know the story, and they might not, what ended up happening was a copy of my June 2024 album release, Great Big Sky, that copy of the CD was delivered to Buckingham Palace and hand-delivered to the King, and he listened to it. So it's a very weird thing. And if we back it up a little bit, but to try to keep it short too, I was asked by the Office of the Lieutenant Governor of Saskatchewan to write a song, or to consider writing a song to help Saskatchewan mark the coronation. And I did. I took it as a really good writing challenge, wrote the song, performed at a government house on Coronation Day. It went over really well. I was really happy with it. And then that was that. And then, unbeknownst to me, a copy of the CD, I think via the Lieutenant Governor, and I also think possibly a second copy, if you can believe this, via our High Commissioner of Canada to the United Kingdom. They both delivered a copy. The King got 2 copies, and I'm sure by that point he was like, "Okay, I'll listen to this damn CD." But he listened, and then he sent a message thanking me for the song and wishing me well wishes for the tour of England that I was on at the time when he messaged me. It was very unusual, and I was really flattered, that he listened and he said he really appreciated the song and he was touched by it. So yeah, pretty cool.
I just like the thought of the King wearing his crown, actually popping the disc into the CD player like a Walkman or whatever before he goes for a walk around town or whatever. But yeah, that is so insanely cool. What an honor.
My visual was actually that he probably had like a 5 CD changer. Because they're pops.
Yeah, you're in the rotation. Yeah, that's so perfect. Yeah. Okay. So on Thursday, you're going to be here in Estevan. Of course, you're no stranger to Estevan. You've performed here many, many times. But if I'm not mistaken, this is your first time at the actual Souris Valley Theatre.
This is my first time at the Souris Valley Theatre. I was delighted when they reached out and asked if I would do this. In previous trips to Estevan, I've performed a range of places, like with the Performing Arts Series, with the Arts Council, at the Art Gallery in town, several places. But yeah, the first, and in fact, I think during COVID, I performed an outdoor show in the park, the regional park there, if I recall right. But yeah, first time at the theatre and really excited to be doing this.
So what can fans expect for this performance?
Well, I'm doing the show as a duo, which is how I've been doing a lot of my shows over the last 4 to 5 years. Myself on piano vocals, joined by an acoustic guitar playing harmony singer. His name is Bryn Bessie. He's from Regina. And we're performing tunes that I've written over the last several years, with an emphasis on tunes from my most recent record, Great Big Sky, which is a prairie-themed recording, a lot of prairie-themed songs. I banter with the audience between the songs and talk about where they came from, or just about, ridiculous stories from the road. Often there's some humor involved in that. And I do a couple sets. We take a little break in between, and we're in and out like a fiddler's elbow, and people won't know what hit them. But generally, if people say people have played back to me that it's a really uplifting experience, which I really appreciate, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the world, and if I can help people escape that for a couple hours, then I think we've done our job.
Just like a fiddler's elbow. That is the first time I've ever heard that saying. How long, do you record, or I should say, do you write with Bryn as well then?
No, I don't. I tend to write solo or co-write with other people who are focusing a lot on songwriting. Bryn is he's a really skilled guitar player and harmony singer, but he's with me on the road as accompanying sort of music arrangement. I'm also working with him separately this summer on recording some music, because he's a really good audio engineer as well. But for the writing stuff, I'm generally doing that solo or a couple co-writes with other folks.
Well, that's fair. Let's talk about the other things that will be keeping you busy throughout the rest of the summer.
Well, so I've been doing a lot of shows around Saskatchewan through June and early July. I take off to Ontario right away and do some Ontario shows, some Manitoba shows, and then uniquely, this is a really weird booking performance invite I got the first week of September. I'm heading to Osaka, Japan, to perform 7 shows in Osaka. At the Canada Pavilion for part of Expo 25. The National Arts Centre books that venue for Expo 25, and I just performed at the National Arts Centre in Ottawa at the start of April, which was a real honor. But it was about 6 or 8 months ago they reached out and with this email that I thought was fake at first, and they were like, "Would you like to perform in Osaka, Japan, for a week?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And then I realized, oh, they're actually serious. So yeah, that's going to be really fun. And then I come back October. There's a big tour out to BC and back. November, a big tour out to the Maritimes and back. December is a bunch of holiday shows around Saskatchewan, and then boom, the year's over. Where did it go? And we'll see what 2026 brings. There's a lot of bookings in the books already, so I'm gratefully very busy these days.
Are you going to try to learn some Japanese?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna no. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna focus on eating as much amazing Japanese food as I can, because it's not just sushi. There's ramen and it runs the gamut. We only really sort of know sushi and a bit of ramen here, but it's such a diverse culinary experience there. And I'm such a foodie that I can't wait. And thank goodness I'm provided with an interpreter to help me get around. But I also understand they speak a lot of English, so it should be fun.
Yeah, that will be so much fun. The last thing we should mention is just where people can find out more about you, and more importantly, where they can listen to your music.
Yeah, so I mean, I put all my info on my website, which is jeffstraker.com, but I'm on all the social platforms as Jeffery Straker, Jeffery Straker. There's also a link to this Thursday's show at the Souris Valley Theatre on my website, if people want tickets for that, or at the sourisvalleytheatre.com site too. But yeah, if people want to follow along on social media, I'd really appreciate it. There'll be more shows coming up in Saskatchewan over the next year or so, so they can stay tuned. But I really hope people can make it out on Thursday, and we can have a good time together at the Souris Valley Theatre.
We actually have 2 tickets to give away for this show. We can get people to text in to win right now, I think. Do you have a keyword that you would like them to use?
Oh, what's the keyword? How about piano?
Piano. I love it. Piano, text piano to the Someone That You Talk text line 634-1023 for your chance to win 2 tickets to see Jeffery Straker. Thank you so much for joining me. This was such a fun interview.
Yeah, thanks for the chat. I really appreciate it.